It would seem as though.
Hi.
Hi.
How it go?
Well, it's going all right. I would.
Tis it.
It is. Welcome to another week of It Would Seem As Though, the podcast where we talk about anything, everything, and nothing.
Mostly nothing.
Yeah. Today's, I think, mostly nothing topic. We have lots of different little things, but I don't think one main topic.
No.
Right?
Well, I don't think we can focus. It's almost vacation time.
Yeah. Well, there's that, and that makes it much more difficult. But I wanted to share something with you.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and everybody's listening. So, it all falls under the guise of, why do you feel the need to make negative comments on somebody's TikTok or YouTube or whatever? Mm-hmm. Just scroll by.
Yeah.
If you don't like them, or unless they're saying really fucked up stuff, and you can say, yeah, not cool, man.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But to go, okay, here's my problem about this specific thing.
Yeah.
I happened upon this young trans man's page. Mm-hmm. And he was just talking, he was showing a comment that some woman made up in the corner of the screen, how they do, and then commenting to it, where she said something stupid like, you don't get to choose your gender, blah, 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 who cares, nonsense. Well, so I went into his comments to just say,
yeah,
go dude, because he said if enough people comment, he gets some kind of, he gets paid.
Sure.
And he's like, so I want to make money on this dumb woman's comment.
Yeah.
Well, when I went in, some idiot commented, it's like, you were somebody's daughter, and then that, like, emoji of the, like, big tear crying face. And so I was like, I don't know why, but I commented underneath it. I just said, and you are commenting about things you know nothing about. Mm-hmm. And so this very clever person almost immediately, sent me back a message that said, is your first name trans? Or your first name's trans? And I'm all, what? Oh, because my name is Vesta, Trans Vesta. Oh, that's clever. You are so clever. Did you think of that all yourself?
Yeah.
Idiot. But it's just the whole idea of it is like, why?
Yeah.
Why do you feel the need to put your, whatever it is, your social mores, your morals, your values, your whatever, on somebody that you, A, don't know, B, are never going to know, and C, you're never going to understand. And you don't get their journey, so why?
I know.
Just, as Dionne Warwick would say, walk on by.
But girl,
just keep going.
Don't ever read the comments, one, unless you're ready, but also don't ever comment back to people who are dumb. Dumb people
that was
my
first mistake.
Worth any sort of energy of argument. Like, there's not any time for that. So our friend Lori Lee sent me a thing, and I don't think we finished the conversation. Copy.
But she sent me a message the other day.
Okay. I'm ready.
And started out with still a loyal listener.
Love it.
And she
Love
said,
it.
you said something about getting old earlier today, and so she'd been watching a reel, and she tried to send it to me, but it, for whatever reason, wouldn't come through. Right. But she said, although I was born in California and have relatives all over the U.S. and even in Carlton, have fun in Disney. I'm like, what the heck? And so I just said, thank you so much. I can't believe you have relatives in Carlton. What a crazy coincidence. And, she also said, have fun in Disneyland, whatever. And she said, relative is a young man I've never met. Yeah. He's a chef at one of the wineries.
Okay.
And he popped up in my Ancestry page.
Okay, Astra did tell me this not that long ago.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, how would you have family in that little shithole town?
Right? Because it is a little shithole town.
It seems very coincidental. I remember, though, kind of being excited when people would know where it was. You know what I mean? Like, oh, Carlton. But that's interesting. Yeah. But because Astra asked me, do you know this guy? And I said, no, he probably moved there for the job,
right. Right. Well, and the other thing is, so the reel that she was wanting me to watch, and she couldn't send, I said, well, why don't you just text me? And I gave her my phone number, and she said, and I quote, because this made me laugh out loud, I have a Flintstone flip phone. Texting is painful, and I cannot send a reel from my ancient form of communication.
Yeah, right.
Oh, Lori Lee.
Oh,
We love you.
Yes.
You're hilarious. And thank you for listening.
Oh, yeah. Girl.
And I'm curious to see what the real is, but I'm also curious to see who this person is in Carleton. And it's also probably someone who moved there for the job, I would assume. And what's also funny is one day, because you know me, I'm on the Ancestry and I have the enormous family tree that I've built.
Yeah.
And it'll pop up and say, you have a DNA match. Okay.
Great.
And it's usually some like cousin who I've never met, don't know how they're connected, don't care.
Don't really care, yeah.
But this one popped up one day and it said, you have a cousin who lives, and I want to say he lived like in Carleton or near Carleton. And I was like, what? And it was like,
who?
And it was a young black man. And I'm all, wait, what? And first of all, why is a young black man living in Carleton? The whitest town in the whole state.
I don't know.
Although the whole state's pretty.
I was gonna say I don't know where the whitest town. That's like
I know it's all pretty white.
They're all pretty much the same.
But I sent him a message, but I never heard back. I was just like, "How are we related?" And I was like, "Here's my, here are my like grandparents, whatever." And he is related on my mother's side.
Can't you? Okay.
But I don't know exactly.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. I just thought it was like,
oh my god.
Because having relatives in Carleton, not surprising, since a lot of our family still lives out there.
Yeah. But cousins? Why would you have a cousin in Carleton?
Right, because all my cousins are old.
And live elsewhere.
Right, and except I guess cousins on my father's side, because Amy and Miranda live here.
Right. That's accurate. I forget.
Yeah. But all the rest of the cousins live elsewhere.
Yeah.
Or I don't know them, or I don't want to know them.
Honestly. Well, because I, growing up with a lot of my cousins, it wouldn't be shocking if they said, oh, you have cousins in Carleton, and be all, no shit, right? I grew up with cousins in Carleton. They're probably all still there.
Speaking of cousins, though, while we're still there for a second.
Do you have tea?
No, I have really something cool. So, your cousin Erin, her daughter Kylie, entered an art contest thing, show thing. Whatever. It is. I guess it is a contest because they do pick winners.
Sure.
And her piece, which I looked at yesterday, obviously this isn't a visual podcast, so I can't help you with that, but it's this beautiful piece where it's a tree, and part of it is painted and part of it's actual like sticks feeling like they're coming out of the thing.
Oh, cool.
And then a black man being lynched in the tree, and she called it Strange Fruit from the old Billie Holiday song. And I was like, oh my god, that is beautiful and powerful and terrible. And she won.
Damn.
Yeah. So and her whole thing was she was inspired by that song, obviously. And she said, but being a black girl growing up in Oregon City, this is something that people need to know the history of, and people don't know.
Yeah.
People don't care to know because it's an ugly, ugly part of our history. Yeah. And some of it's not that historical. Some of it's not that far back.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing.
That's
she's a junior in high school.
Crazy.
Yeah. And it just so happens the high school that she goes to was on the news more than once for racist nonsense. So I can only imagine.
Ugh. There's no way. I would be like, look... I couldn't imagine. I would just want to be homeschooled. And I wanted to be homeschooled, Being, like, the kid who's different. And I was like, no, take me out. There's no fucking way. It was miserable. But I know some people can do it. But I did it, and then I left it and said, toodaloo, motherfucker.
Right, and now you're getting ready to do education all over again.
I know. We'll see how it goes. It'll probably go poorly.
It will probably go poorly because you always do so poorly in school. You will probably flunk out first term, and they will just take your money and go, get out.
Get out, you stupid idiot.
Yeah.
Yeah, curse your name.
It makes me feel like every time T has done something where he's like, oh, I just don't think I'll do very well. And I'm like, you're right, you're probably going to do horribly.
I know.
And then, of course, he's on the dean's list. And National Honor Society. Yep, you sure did poorly. You did see you got an A-.
You
loser.
Idiot.
I know. And so, same for you.
It is dangerous.
It's like, oh, God, I don't know how. It's like, yeah, you might get it, a B somewhere.
I know.
That would be shameful.
It would be. But we have had that conversation before about it's kind of dangerous to be an overachiever because then if you're not doing enough, you feel like you are a fucking loser. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And enough for me to feel like, oh, I'm doing enough shit to feel contented is too much, you know? Like, there have been so many times in my life where I worked multiple jobs and went to school and I, you know, had a full-time job drinking or whatever, you know.
I didn't know that was a full-time job.
Right. Well, when I think about San Francisco,
drinking was a full-time job.
I drank, I worked at Starbucks, I went to school, I worked fashion shows. Like, I did a bunch of shit, a bunch of extracurricular shit, and was like, yeah, let's keep going. Now the thought of doing one of those things, I'm like, let's never, you know?
Yeah.
It's tiresome.
But also, you know, think about what you have said before, and I know you've talked about this on the pod, is that when you were in San Francisco, you also got very thin. Oh, no, that was when you lived in...
I was in L.A.
L.A.
Yeah, San Francisco, I had a meal plan, so I ate at the school. Right. But no, San Francisco was just... I mean, it wasn't for me. You know, I'm from here where... I basically grown up in a forest. Portland is, you know, a city in a forest, you know.
Yeah.
Carlton
is
especially
this neighborhood. We do live in a national park.
It was weird to me to live in a very concrete jungle. It was unsettling.
I would imagine.
And I didn't like it. I always thought, and that's crazy, I always thought living downtown in a major city is like the dream, right?
Yeah.
And I got to have a lot of fun. I got to be able to, you know, not need a car to go to a concert, you know what I mean? Just be able to walk a few blocks or whatever. But it also sucked because, like, I don't know, I like being able to go outside and there's, like, nature outside.
Yeah.
It was weird, and I didn't enjoy it. And then when I went to New York, I lived in San Francisco and flew to New York, and was like, this is worse. Like, I hate this more, you know? And it wasn't long.
I do get that because I know that sometimes when I'm watching something that takes place in New York, especially if it's not current, if it's like takes place in the 80s or the 70s, and when New York was a shithole,
Scouty.
New York, and like especially like downtown, like Manhattan and stuff, where there was like 1,000 porn theaters. And,
it was very
scummy,
dirty.
Lots of sex workers and lots of crime and lots of whatever, all in that kind of concentrated in that area. And so you see people in these movies who are like, you know, it's dangerous to go out on the streets, and you know, it's dark and gloomy and dirty and smells like piss and blah blah blah. And my first thought is, get on a train and go anywhere where there's nature.
Bitch.
And not that there won't be crime.
Yeah.
Not that there won't be, but you will be somewhere where that doesn't smell like piss.
Yeah.
And that you might have a chance of getting a job that is not so competitive because you're not in such a huge city, or just you won't be living in a rat infested, cockroach infested apartment.
Gross, right?
You know, that's in a slum somewhere, because that's how, of course, in so many of those movies, that's how that's portrayed.
Sure.
But there is a bit of reality in that. And I remember when New York was all cleaned up and, as they said, Disney-fied, and all of Manhattan became, like, family-friendly.
Weird.
And so the people who live there, who always complained about being a trash hole, now complained about it being family-friendly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, which do you want?
It is.
Or did you need something in between, or just leave? We're bitching about it, but leave it alone.
Yeah.
Because there's also that. There's it's our city and we're complaining about it. Nobody asked you to fix it. We're just bitching.
Yeah, it's what we do. It's part of our personality.
Well, yes, and I do realize that that's one of those things, and we've talked about that, is when you're complaining about something, it makes, at least my brain, go, well, how can you fix that? And it's like, we're complaining to complain. And complaining just to complain doesn't make sense to me. Complaining if I'm complaining to you about something, it's like, I either want you to maybe to say, oh, girl, I feel you, I get that, whatever, as if it's something I can't fix.
Sure.
But if it's something I can, to go, well, I'm complaining so I can kind of get it, talk it out, because I'm also a very exterior processor. I process everything outside of my head.
Same.
And, so I'm all, here's what's happening, blah, blah, blah. And it's funny because, you know, my husband's an interior, he processes everything inside. And so sometimes when I'm saying these things, he'll be like, I don't understand what's happening. And it's like, 21 years in, you probably should know that I process everything externally.
Right.
So that's what's happening. I'm processing. And I think it's that he doesn't realize I'm processing. He just thinks that I'm trying to get him to maybe fix something or whatever it is. And it's like, no, I'm trying to get to an answer. Mm-hmm. Or he'll think, what is the question you're actually asking me? Well, I'm not
asking you a question.
I started at this point, and I'm working my way, hopefully, to a solution.
Yeah.
Or at least, or a plan, or something.
Yeah.
And I have to do that out loud.
Yeah. No, I get that. We went... Tangents are topics, girl, because let me tell you, you took off on New York City, bitch, and now somehow...
I know, now we're somewhere else entirely.
Exterior processing, bitch. Yes, we are. I do want to say a couple things because you don't shut the fuck up.
There's that.
Wait,
what? No one's ever said that before.
News. Shocking. Breaking news.
Glad I was sitting.
I know. No, I forget. No, I think people who live in cities like New York, even Los Angeles, even San Francisco, and then cities that are in worse condition, like mega cities or whatever they're called around the world, where like they do actually have like slums, actual slums, No wonder people are so detached from nature. Do you know what I mean? No wonder people so many people are like, well, look how we don't ever see it, why it doesn't affect us. That's interesting to me. I don't know what else I was saying.
I don't know, because I just kept talking and,
I do understand the processing out loud, because same. Sometimes it's easier for me to get things started. It is easier for me to get things started if I just start talking about it with somebody else.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't need you to fix it. You can comment. You can give me... You can. That's fine. But it's fine if I have a sounding board, but I just need to talk about it. It's easier to get out of my head. Because then it feels like, okay, now I've said it. Now it's here. It's
absolutely
tangible. Yeah.
But it's also, as I'm saying it, I sometimes will get like another idea that's like, oh, like, I was talking the other day about cleaning the yard because I felt like I was in, white trash hell with all the shit in our yard. And I thought, because I said, on Sunday I want, all of us to clean the yard. In my mind, that's a plan. We're going to clean the yard on Sunday.
Yeah.
But in my husband's mind, it was like, that's just something you said you want to do. You didn't say we're going to do it or set up a time or a plan or whatever. And I was like, in my world, it felt like I had.
Yeah.
Without setting a time.
Sure.
But it was like, no, on Sunday, we're going to. But then I started processing the entire thing out loud. And he's like, what? And I was like, I want to do this and I want this to happen. And I kept saying I want instead of here's what needs to happen. Mm-hmm. And they're different, but to me, they feel the same. Mm-hmm. Which I get how they're different.
Yeah.
I do. I understand. But because we process differently and because we think differently, I feel like that's the same thing. Whereas he's just like, yeah, you can say I want a lot of things. I want to go shopping, but you're still sitting on the couch. I want to exercise, but you haven't yet. It's like there are things you want to do that you don't do, or things that you think you want to do. So it's like, yeah. So it was just like I had to process the entire thing out loud, and he's just like, what's happening? I'm processing.
Girl,
I'm just processing. And when I get to the end, and so we did end up cleaning up the yard.
Yeah.
And cleaning up a good portion of the garage. Have you been in the garage? Oh, you were there yesterday. Did you see the big...
It looked nice, yeah.
Yeah, it was huge. So our garage, until Sunday, looked like an episode of Hoarders. And part of that is just storage that is disorganized.
Yeah, that's most.
And there's a lot of storage stuff in there, but there's also stuff in there that we need to get rid of.
Yeah.
Stuff that is just garbage. Stuff that is, and there's a lot of stuff that we haven't even looked at in years. Like, for example, we opened up this one box and Parker's like, here's all my books that I've been missing. Well, why are they out here? It's like, you put them out here, I think, because you were doing a giveaway thing, and now all of a sudden you see them, and you're having that nostalgia moment. I want them all back.
No, you can't do
I
it.
need these 400 books back in my room that's already so full. It's just like, but there's a lot of that will go, okay, this is all going to go to charity or wherever, and we'll take it out to the garage, and go, next time I go to fill in the blank, I will take this. And then it doesn't happen.
No.
Because if it's not sitting somewhere where I'm tripping over it, I will forget to take it.
So, girl, this is why you write everything down, first of all. And second of all, I started making way more trips to donate shit because we keep finding stuff. Or I was cleaning out cupboards because I reorganized my whole kitchen and I was like, cleaning up cupboards, and I was like, I never use this. Here's a blender that's, like, old. I probably got it from Old Man Chris. Like, why do I have this? So I donated a bunch of shit. I threw a bunch of shit away. But, like, I have to make that plan then write it down. You have a whiteboard, just write that down.
I know.
Just start writing
so
shit
now, on the weekends, when I go to work on Saturday morning, I write, kids, and then I'll write whatever chores I need them to do.
Yeah.
And then for tea, I will put, like this weekend it was, fill up the dog's water dish or something. It's usually one, like, small-ish thing.
Yeah.
Because, it's his day off. He needs to get some rest and relaxation, too. But there was something I needed him to do. Oh, wait, what was it? I needed him to go pick something up, I think. Whatever, who cares? It was taking back the cable boxes because
that's right.
We have downsized our cable because we never watch it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know how long you've been without cable, for a long time.
Long-ass time, yeah.
But it's like, when I talked to the lady at the cable company, and she's all, why do you have 3 cable boxes? And I was like, because we have 3 TVs. She goes, you don't need them now. You can just do the Xfinity streaming. I was like, I did not know that. And she goes, yeah, you can just do it on an app like everything else, like the Disney Channel or everything else. You can all do that on an app, and then you don't need the box. Then you're not paying $10 a box. And you also have a DVR, and that's another $10. And I'm like...
You're paying $40 a month strictly for devices.
Shit I don't need. Right.
Crazy.
So I'm also paying for a lot of channels I don't watch. Because literally, in the last year, I have probably only watched Drag Race on regular TV, on cable TV.
Yeah.
Everything else I watch on the apps, like Netflix and Max and whoever knows what. And so I was all, why do I have this?
Yeah.
And so our cable bill went from $300 a month, which is fucking ridiculous, to $180.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because I kept cable.
Yeah.
But just so that I could have MTV and a couple other channels, right?
Yeah.
And it's only $40 more than just having internet. So I was like, because I might want something. Who knows?
Sure.
Yeah.
Now that we're talking about it, I don't think in my adult life I have ever had cable television.
Really?
Right. I have had Xfinity or Comcast or whatever for their internet, but I've never had cable. Because why? I have, like, every app, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the streaming device, I feel I like streaming better than watching TV. Watching TV to me is, like, so crazy to me anymore. Like, watching cable TV and waiting through commercials. I don't know.
Right.
It feels like a relic, you know?
Well, yeah. Well, yeah. And I noticed, because we had a DVR, so we recorded a ton of shit. Well, my husband.
Sure.
I record Drag Race.
Yeah.
So that I can watch it without commercials. But as I was looking at all of the things that he had recorded, all of those things can be watched on an app. So it's like, why are we recording all of this? And 2, why do we still have this service? So that was his thing on Saturday, was to unhook all of that shit and take it back to Xfinity.
Yeah.
So they could take it off my bill, so I don't have to pay that anymore.
I know. Little Miss Girl.
Yes, I have a cat staring at me over the top of my computer screen with her big green eyes.
Like, she's very busy.
She's so pretty.
Thank you.
She's a beautiful kitty cat.
She is a very pretty girl, yeah.
Yeah.
Her new thing is she likes to go... Well, it's not new. She loves going outside. So she's been running through my house screaming. Starting at this morning, 3:30
Oh, God.
in the morning. Yeah. It was good times. So I go and get her and bring her to bed, and she cuddles, so we just go night-night together, and I spoon her. But one of her favorite things now is when I'm allowing her to go out. I'm obviously going with her, but I open the door and Jean runs out and Kitty Girl sprints right behind her, and they sprint together for a minute, and then Kitty Girl wears out by the time she gets to the sidewalk. But it's cute.
She's like, I'm too fat for this.
Well, because she doesn't understand anything outside of the yard,
right?
And I don't again let her out by herself. But yeah, she's going out because it's nice, and that's all she wants now. So she just cries like she's dying and.
Sure, makes sense.
I said, stop, the neighbors are going to complain. The neighbors are going to call CPS.
Possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, because she's loud when she cries.
Yes. I remember when she was like 6, 8 months old, I don't know. She was meowing. She would do little baby meows when she saw us or wanted to be around us or wanted to be cute. But I remember one time she didn't realize I was inside. She was at the back door crying. and howling. Deep fucking mountain lion, like, howl. And I go and peek around the corner, and she does it, and as she turns her head and sees me, and immediately drops into a meow, meow. I'm like,
which reminds me of that video, which I'm sure you can still find on YouTube, of the barking cat. Yeah. Which as soon as it sees its person, it's like, meow. Yeah.
It was very
that. Was not me barking.
Yeah, it was very that. Because when she sees you...
And if you want to see what I'm talking about, go on YouTube and look up barking cat. It's fucking hilarious, because this cat is looking at the window, literally barking like a dog.
Yeah.
And as soon as the person behind it, they hear that they've like clicked something or moved something, it turns around and it's like, meow. Meow. Yeah,
no,
nothing.
I'm a cat.
It wasn't me.
What up? I'm a cat.
It wasn't me.
Meow, bitch. I'm a cat.
Meow, bitch. I'm a cat.
For real. Yeah.
I feel like that's what she would say if she could talk.
Meow, meow.
Bitch.
Whatever, meow. Yeah. She is full of piss and vinegar, as you know.
As the old people say.
Yeah, I know. Oh, old people.
Oh, old people.
They're tiring.
Speaking of old people, I want to tell you this just because it has nothing to do with anything other than it's a social thing that I find very weird.
Okay. Old people? Same.
Well, yeah. But everybody knows I'm a hairdresser.
Everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
Yeah.
And so I have a variety of people, a variety of ages and, whatever.
Sure.
Well, one of my clients who I've known for many, many, many years, every time I do her hair, and I love her dearly, she's a wonderful lady, but she does this thing that I always think is very funny, which I'll say, hey, what's new, what's going on, what's happening in your life? There's always something.
Yeah. And
most people would say, oh, my family's good, or my husband did this, or my child, whatever.
Yeah.
But she is one of those people who go, oh my God, well, Bob and Betty came up this week.
Oh, fucking Bob and Betty.
I didn't expect them, and then they brought their friend Carol, and Carol's just and
they're in a throuple, let me tell you.
And it's just, she starts talking about all these people by first name.
Yeah.
And like I'm supposed to know them.
Yeah.
It's like, ugh. And when I went out to see Suzanne,
I
was like, oh God, well, what's Suzanne up to? She's I don't know any of these people.
Her thigh master.
Right. Ooh, that Suzanne?
Yeah.
Oh.
Miss Summers, if you will.
God rest her soul. But it's just like, what? I know none of these people.
But listen, I love that. I love that way of telling a story. Just being like, I was talking to Ben the other day, and he said that Madge went to the beach, or whatever. That's really fucking cute to me, because it's kind of like your main character syndrome. Like,
right.
Everyone knows, like, you live in one neighborhood, it's all hi Barbie. Like, everyone knows everyone else. Right. I love that.
Well, it's kind of like, Aunt Marty used to always do that, too. Aunt Marty, who, by the way, is not my aunt. She was a friend of the aunt of a friend of mine, and so I always called her Aunt Marty.
Same.
But she would do the same thing. She would just start talking about her friends, who of course I'd never met and I knew nothing about.
Sure.
But like, yeah.
How do you know?
God, I cannot believe Jim did this thing. I was like,
Jim.
You just never know what Jim's up to.
Jim.
Now, I will say that when I was with my first husband, he would talk about people like that.
Yeah.
And I would respond like I knew them. And it pissed him off.
Yeah, I love
because
that.
He would be like, well, so-and-so. And he'd say, look, these two girls that he went to school with, I swear to God, their names were Honey and Taffy.
Their names were Beavis and Butt.
They might have been. And so he was talking about them, and I go, well, how are Honey and Taffy? I haven't seen them in forever. What are they up to these days? I know, of course, I've never met them. I don't know anything about them. I'd never heard their name until that moment. And I'm thinking, what cracker shithead names their kids Honey and Taffy?
Biscuit and Cracker. Those are my kids.
Biscuit and Cracker. This is my girl Saltine.
Yeah, and this is Wheat.
Isn't that French? Saltine.
Yeah. And this is, I don't know, what are those little chicken ones?
This is my other child, Chicken and a Biscuit.
That is so stupid.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, when the first time I watched Moulin Rouge, I was like, are they calling that girl Saltine? Her name was Santine?
I don't know.
Saltine?
Is it not Saltine? I thought it was Saltine.
Well, Nicole,
the French.
Is pretty white.
Oh, tu vis a French, you know.
I know.
Oh, God, that was really funny.
Yes. And this is my other child, Wheat Thin.
Wheat Thin. Yeah. It's a hard WH.
Yes, it's a hard WH.
Yeah,
because
honestly.
She's white.
White. I know. That's silly. I'm trying to think of silly names. People I know with silly names. I don't know.
I don't think I know that many people with odd names.
Yeah.
My husband does. When I first met him, I remember him talking about his friends, and I was all...
Thimble and Paperclip, right?
This is my friend Pixie.
No, but are we talking about, like, I'm talking about...
You mean government names?
Government names.
I don't think I know very many. I'm probably, if I racked my brain, I could come up with some people with silly government names. But mostly it's, like some people have chosen names, and I'm like,
yeah.
You picked that?
That's your name?
Okay.
Oh, God, what is her name? There's a girl that I know, and she's
Doorknob?
No. She's very sweet, very precious. I've worked with her. It's so funny. She's like, it feels like a movie every time around her, just because I've worked with her and seen her at different establishments as a worker, like 75 different times. So she just like pops up like that, like a different character every time.
So she shows up in different movies as different characters. You're like, wait a minute.
And I'm like, don't you also work out like hot dog on a stick? Like, what the fuck are you doing in Nordstrom? Yeah, like that's it. She's always. We worked at H&M together. She used to sell me coffee when I worked at Clinique. What the fuck is her name? And we're friends. I'm friends with her.
Well, it turns out she's stalking you. That's why she's everywhere you go.
Probably.
She's obsessed with you. Why are you so obsessed with me?
I do know her name. And
it's something, you do?
But keep talking.
I'm glad that her name is something.
Maybe.
Because if her name was nothing, that would be
because
weird.
I thought it was...
These are my twins.
Oh,
something
I know what
nothing.
it is.
Yes.
Her name is Queenie.
Queenie?
Yeah. Which is like from American Horror Story Coven.
Sure.
But I was like, your name is Queenie. Her government name is Queenie.
Is she a white girl?
She is Filipino.
Okay.
Yeah. But I said, oh girl, your parents thought how you will.
There's a comedian who I was watching one day and talking about how folks name their children after like things that they want them to aspire to, like, this is my daughter Mercedes. It was like when her name should be Buick.
Yeah.
Like, have you seen her?
Everyone's still gonna
Mercedes,
ride in her.
she is not. Oh,
and I'm
yeah. Wow, hateful.
I'm just saying.
Honest, but hateful.
Saying. I know. I just feel like, growing up where I grew up, no one had interesting names. The most interesting name I remember is like Reenie. You know what I mean?
Which isn't that interesting.
There were like Ashleys and Brittany's and Zach's and Andrews. It's all kind of like the boring. You're all boring as fuck.
Right. Well, and when I went to school, because they hadn't invented cool names yet, because people were still... It took so long to chisel them out on stone tablets that they kept it short and
Bob.
But, yeah. I only knew a few people where their names were like... I went to school with a girl named Bentley.
Okay.
And I went to school with a girl who I know we talked about. She had 9 siblings, and they all 10 of them started with T's. But her younger siblings were Treasure and Tower. And I'm all... That's not a name.
Trepidation.
Ooh, see, now if you're going to go for it, go for it. I'm going to name my child Trepidation.
I said I was going to name, if I had a girl, I was going to name her Lucifer, and she'd go by Lucy. You know what I mean? That would have been precious.
Yeah.
But if I would, my children would have demented evil names.
One of something I've done for years is someone will say like weird words that sound like they could be names, and I was like, is that what you were going to name your children?
Insignia.
We were one day driving with a friend of mine and drove by this place that had all this baby stuff. It was, it's over on Foster, but they had all this baby stuff, and they went to like cribs and whatever.
The tidy-didy?
Yeah. And she was like, I don't like that because it's just too hangy and flowy and lacy. And I was like, isn't that what you called your triplets?
Hangy, flowy, and lacy. I hate it.
My daughter, Flowy.
What wretched names.
Well, Lacey...
Lacey's fine.
But flowy?
Hangy? This is my Aunt Flowy.
Oh.
No. Yeah, there you go. I know.
Yeah. So, I wanted to talk about something serious. I know, we've talked about nothing serious.
After all that?
I know, we don't have to talk about anything serious.
No, tell me.
I saw a thing this morning about, actually it was last night, about the U.S. government is trying to block aid to the Gaza Strip. There's a flotilla coming from Turkey with aid that's trying to go to Gaza, and the U.S. is trying to block them from going to Gaza. And I'm all, what the actual fuck? Why? You know, because you're like, we want this to end, and we want that. You know, make your words match your feet, man. It's like, if that's really what you want, then why are you blocking aid to these people who so desperately need it?
How horrifying, you know.
Sorry.
Oh God, that's so loud.
Sorry.
I don't know why
I didn't mean for that to happen.
Yeah, no, it grosses me out. It's been over 6 months of all of this. I can't believe people in Gaza have survived this long, to be honest.
So here, I'm going to just say this, because it says, call the U.S. consulate in Istanbul, the U.S. embassy in Ankara, I'm sure how to say, and State Department to tell them to respect international law and allow aid into Gaza. And the number is 202-456-1111. So, you know, when people say there's nothing you can do, there are things you can do. Now, will one phone call or two? No, but if there's floods of phone calls saying, this is fucked up, knock it off, and help these people who so desperately need help, you know. And I saw a couple things I saw that were interesting. Was that there was a whole walkout. What school was that?
Columbia.
Columbia. I thought it was Columbia. Where students, teachers, and other faculty walked out in. Was it not support of? It was like because they were.
They're in support of Palestine. They're in support of Gaza.
But the school wasn't, right? Because the school took a stand.
They're pro-Israel.
Pro-Israel. And so everybody walked out in a protest.
What is it? There was a famous Jewish man. I think he is also pro-Israel, and he took his donation. Is done donating to the school because of anti-Semitic language, and you know, all the students walking out to be pro-Palestine and not pro-Israel. So he got mad and withdrew his donation.
Good for you.
But yeah, Columbia, you fucking idiots. Are you kidding me? Like, you're what's it called? What is it called? An Ivy League. Like, you dumb bitches. You're an old-ass school. Get it together. I hate this.
Yeah, you've been around long enough. You should figure some shit out.
This is the problem. People taking money from Israel and bending the knee. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And politicians, celebrities, anyone with... Israel was... The state of Israel has been offering influencers money to speak highly of Israel on their platforms. And they all talk about it. They show the letters, all of it. Like, this isn't... That's how influencers make money, is by brand deals.
Right.
But so many haven't taken it and just been like, no.
Right.
But money Israel's pays people. Like, this is just like a known fact to be like, go Israel.
Yeah, and one of the things you can also do is buy from Palestinian vendors, which it's fairly easy to find. I bought a kufia, which is just basically it's a lovely kind of a scarf or a shoulder wrap, you know, whatever. But it's beautiful, and it came from a shop here in the States, but owned by a Palestinian man who uses part of his profits to help get his family out of Palestine. Yeah. And you can also, there's things all over the world where you can support Palestinian folk and pay money to whatever it is they're selling, or just donate, or whatever, because their country has been decimated.
Well, and
their people have been decimated. And Israel keeps being like, well, it's just self-defense. It's not self-defense when you've killed more than 14,000 Palestinians.
Way more than that.
A huge amount of them children.
They've killed, at this point, like 35,000 Palestinians. 14,000 children, maybe.
My God.
But, like, in the 30s, for sure. And,
you know, whatever it was, 1,200 Israeli people were killed. 1,200 to the tens of thousands of people.
Yeah,
that has went past self-defense on day 2.
For real. But also, so donate money, yes, but also it's important to change the narrative. You have to talk about Palestine not in a light that they're Arabs and they're terrorists and it's so problematic, and I don't know, be smarter about it. You need to do more. You need to fight back.
Yeah.
Girl, this shit's crumbling. I don't know.
Absolutely.
It is just a lot. It feels it has worn me out. I feel like I've aged a lot since this, and I'm not even obviously in the conflict, but like it feels so psychologically insane to be like, no, what is happening is wrong, to consciously know that this is fucking wrong, and to have the world say, no, it's not.
Well, and a big portion of the world is saying the exact same thing.
But the leaders won't.
The leaders will not.
And that it's so dystopian. There's such a disconnect, and I want to say it's baffling, because it should be. It should be baffling. It should be terrifying. But it's like, day to day, it's just how the government works. Yeah. It's just how politicians work. But it feels so surreal,
Absolutely.
It's just really mentally taxing. But you can't stop talking about Palestine. Because if you do, Palestine will no longer exist.
Right.
And that's devastating.
Also on the topic of protests, I saw this morning and I thought that was amazing. In Iceland, 100,000 women went on strike today.
Wow.
100,000. Now, the entire population of Iceland is 370,000. So, more than a quarter of their population went on strike today. Completely devastating,
the economy stopped.
Retail and stuff. Yes, the economy has stopped for the day. And what they're trying to do is get gender equality.
Yeah.
And it's like, good for you.
Hell yeah.
100,000 women. That to me is just mind-boggling. I love that.
Yeah.
And it's like, the power of people, if you can, the power of one person isn't so much, but when you get together with other people and say, we all need to do this.
Yeah.
Whatever this is, because that...
I mean, that's why you got to go connect. You got to go grassroots. You got to go rally the troops. You have to go talk to people. And that, let me tell you, I know in this day and age, the idea of talking to people is exhausting.
Yes.
But yeah.
Because people are exhausting.
Yeah, but you have to organize, right? Like, stay mad, bitch. Stay fucking mad. Get angry. And if you forget why you're mad, ask me.
I remember years ago, I used to see this bumper sticker all the time that said, if you're not angry, you're not paying attention.
Girl.
And I always thought, well, I'm not angry. But it turns out I was not angry because I didn't really have a grasp on what was going on in the world. Yeah. And, but I also find it exhausting to be angry all the time. So it's like focusing that anger. It's like, this thing needs to be talked about. This thing needs to be, have some kind of solution. This thing needs to be, whether that's voting people in or out of office.
Yeah.
Whether that is just talking about it to people who don't know about it. Talking about it on our podcast.
Yeah.
So that other people will hear, forwarding videos on, it's like, I can't do major things because I'm not a politician. I don't have big money. If I had huge money, I could buy a couple politicians and hopefully get something done, because that's how that works. But I don't. Right. So what I can do is, like on TikTok, forward videos or repost videos that are saying, this is what's happening. Because the more you do that, the more people see what's happening. Because, I'll watch a clip of the news and it'll either downplays it or it plays it all from one side.
Yeah.
And so you don't really know what's happening. And so by people being on the ground, making their videos, talking, about what's really going on, and then posting it, and then people reposting it, more and more people know what's going on.
Yeah. I feel like I've always kind of been angry. You know what I mean? For many reasons, but I feel like I've kind of been angry for a long time, And I've always equated it to have like teenage angst, but I'm well past being a teenager.
You are.
So it's no longer teenage angst, but yeah, bitch, I think I've hated lots of things for a long time. Anger, just because it sucks. It's always sucked. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. There was something else I was going to effing say right now, but now I just effing
forgot.
What was I going to say?
I don't know, but you stopped being a teenager 16 years ago.
First of all.
I'm just saying.
You to watch your mouth when you speak to me, bitch.
Oh, sorry.
Second of all.
Sorry for telling you the truth.
Thank you.
Yeah. Didn't you have some things that you wanted to...
Yeah, but what was it?
I don't know. you said you saved some stuff that we were going to talk about. And then we also talked about some stuff before we even started. And you said, we should talk about that. And I've long forgotten what that was.
Yeah, same.
Because we started talking before
okay. Oh, well, we were talking about anxiety.
Oh, right.
And watching things that are comforting, like the same show over and over, the same movies over and over.
Like me now watching The Good Place again, for the fourth time.
And that's kind of most things I'll watch. I have something new I'm watching, but most of the things I pay attention to are just things I've seen because it's comforting to know what's going to happen. There's no surprises, X, Y, and Z, right? And then we're talking about horror and how a lot of people with anxiety who watch horror, their anxiety dissipates when doing so because they have anxiety for the other person, right? Because they're like, the victim.
So they have anxiety for like the lead character.
Yeah. And I remember, and I was just telling you that as a kid, and it happens as an adult too. Like watching a movie or whatever, and it's dark, and you're having a sleepover. I would be the person who would like not be looking at the screen and like looking down the dark hallway, being like, something's going to happen, trying to scare myself, right? And I think that's redirecting anxious energy. Because for me, always having like that, you know, being very fidgety, always having that anxiety, directing it towards fear, directing it towards being scared, directing it towards something felt useful. You know what I mean? Or it felt like it could go somewhere. It felt like it wasn't just like inside just of me.
Crushing you.
Yeah, so being scared is a good use of my anxiety. You know what I mean? I don't know how to... That's how I expend it.
See, my problem with that is that I then put that on my children. Because I'm like, I'm having anxiety and I'm scared of this thing and I'm scared that this thing could happen to you, and so I want you to not do anything where you're going to be unsafe or bad things can happen. Well, then they can't do anything because bad shit's going to happen. You know, and it reminds me of Finding Nemo when he said, you know, I promised him that I would never let any bad things happen to him. It's like, well then... nothing will happen. Because if you make sure nothing bad happens, then you're not doing anything.
Then nothing good can happen.
Yeah, nothing good can happen as well. Yeah. Because if you're not venturing out at all, if you're not taking chances, nothing good's going to happen either. So it's like, what?
I want to talk about your daughter, Grace, for a second. Yeah. I want to talk about how she had a she had a meltdown the other day because a friend of hers got suspended. Or whatever, and had a meltdown. And was angry and was spitting and yelling and whatever. And kids laughed because this was happening. And she got real fucking bent out of shape about it. But what did she... Oh, she said, she's all mad about it. It wasn't funny. Okay. Well, okay, it wasn't funny then. But then she said, I just don't want to go to school tomorrow. I'm just not safe there. And I laughed and thought it was really funny. But I'm like, true. Honestly, you're not safe anywhere, though, girl. This is America, bitch. Right. Do you know what I mean? Right. Like, genuinely, the safest place you could be is, like, at home with your family, but that's still how safe it is.
But then what?
Yeah. Right. I mean, you've also been home when a tree has fallen on your house, right? So, like...
Right.
Let's keep it real.
Well, then that's exactly it. You know, so her classmate was very upset for whatever reason, never got that part of the story, and was screaming and, like you said, spitting. Yeah. And she was bothered by it for days. I had to hear about it for days. I never want to go back to that class. And I said, let's try to logic that out for a second. You've been in school for 3/4 of the year. So you're in your last quarter. This is the first time in all of that time that this kid has had a meltdown. Yeah. So now you think every single time you go to that specific class, there will be a problem. Yep. And she's like, well, yeah, no. Honey, that was a fluke thing. Probably. If it's never happened before, it's not that this kid is like some wild card.
Bad kid.
Yeah. But because of the way her little brain functions, it's like, well, but this is the most recent and biggest. And so that's what I'm, thinking of. Yeah. Which I understand.
That's what she associates with it.
But at the same time, it's like, we can't not do anything because one bad thing happened.
Yeah. it makes me think of her and her allergic reaction.
Oh, God.
And how now we're going back to California, and she's like, well, we got to make sure to have a first aid kit and all of the medicine, because what happens if my eye swells up and when I break out in hives because of that bad sunscreen? And I'm all, girl, then I'll take you to a doctor and leave you there, and we'll go to Disney.
Well, it's I understand that weird things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like one night we were eating some prepackaged like stir fry mix.
Yeah.
And I don't know what affected her. It was something in the sauce, I would imagine, because it wouldn't have been the vegetables. Yeah. Probably. But she had hives almost immediately.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, God, what? But has never had them before or since.
Yeah.
But now it's like every time I pull out a bag of vegetables, are those the ones that are going to make me break out? No.
Girl,
they're not.
I want you to know we went to Bullwinkle's.
Yes.
Right? We used a sunscreen because it's half outside.
Right.
And nothing happened. She didn't break out. She didn't itch. She was uncomfortable because putting lotion on is uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like, it can be if you're fully dressed and you're going to be out in public. Gross, right? Literally 2 hours in, she's like, I told you, the sunscreen and break out in hives. 2 hours later. And it's because we've been moving, playing in the sun. You know what I mean? So she's a little bit red. I told you that I couldn't use this.
And now... And you didn't believe me, and now I'm going to die.
Honestly.
From an allergic reaction to sunscreen.
I went to your house the other day to ask for the mower, right? And I had put sunscreen on because I was going to be outside, and Parker asked me, "Oh, are you wearing sunscreen?" Because he could smell it. And I said, "Yeah." And Grace said, "Oh, well, I hope it's not the sunscreen that breaks me out." I'm all, little bitch.
If it is, I won't rub up against you. How about that?
Honestly, calm down. Jesus Christ almighty. Like, I'm a hypochondriac as well. Don't get me wrong. I think, I have a pain. It's probably a blood clot. I'm probably going to die.
Yeah. It's probably cancer.
Yeah. Every time. But Grace is just silly.
I think because I have had actual real heart problems with AFib, every time, every time I have a heart, or something in my chest is uncomfortable, I'm having a heart attack.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm dying. I'll be dead by morning.
Same. The first year COVID happened, and now I realized it's happened every year since, and it's happening this year. During this time, I sometimes have a hard time catching my breath, or I get a little pain in my chest, or whatever. But it's because my allergies fucking suck, right?
Yeah.
My eyes don't itch or anything like that, but it's mostly like breathing. And 2020, I remember calling our doctor and being like, I think I have COVID or something is wrong. And she was like, I think you have allergies. And then that's also when I was she told me I had asthma. So I was like, oh, cool. So I'm not dying, but I just can't breathe.
I'm not dying, but I feel like I'm dying because I can't breathe. And, well, that's normal.
Well, because last year when Gavin and I went to LA, oh my God. Sorry, I'm yawning because I'm so bored.
Oh, wow.
When I went to LA with Gavin and we went to Disney, I felt out of breath. And I felt like, not at Disney, but before we even went to California, in Oregon, I felt very fucked up because of the allergies. So when I got to California, I was like, oh my God, it is clear I can breathe. But they had so much rain the winter before that everything was so green.
Oh, right.
That his family and like his sister-in-laws were like, oh my God, aren't your allergies so bad down here? I'm like, babe, I live in like a literal forest. This, you live near the ocean. Like, this is much cleaner than just because things are actually blooming for the first time in your entire life here.
You have 3 blooming trees.
Yeah, right. But it was funny to me.
Whereas we wake up every day and our cars are yellow with pollen.
Yellow, I know. And because she was like, when she asked us that, I was like, oh, isn't it so bad down here? I'm like, girl, you could never come visit. You'll die.
Right.
You'll just lay down and die. Because, I washed my car. Gavin and I washed our cars the other day. And I was like, because she was looking like Swamp Thing. So I cleaned her up. Beautiful. The next day, covered it yellow. My car is black.
Right.
She's yellow. Covered in pollen.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy.
So much pollen. Anyway.
So... completely off topic, but I just saw the topic of this Am I the Asshole, and I wanted to share it, and I thought we could finish out our pod with just a little something fun.
And
because the you know how they always have a little topic and you read that and go, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
Am I the asshole for telling my mother-in-law that she made her bed and she can rot in it for all I care? Already, I like your level of pettiness and, whatever. So, I, 24 male, have been with my girlfriend, 23 female, for a bit over a year. She's the love of my life, and the only problem is the witch of a mother that she has. That, I'm going to tell you, that can ruin a whole relationship. My girlfriend is very low contact with her mom, as she is a judgmental, crazy alcoholic. That's a perfect reason to be low contact, let me tell you what, or no contact. She has constantly criticized my girlfriend to the point of her crying every time she talks to her.
Oh, God.
See, I'm saying no contact. Go no contact.
I was like, is that my
Well, we are expecting our first child. It was not planned, but a welcome surprise, and we are super happy about it. My girlfriend told her father, as she's very close to him, and my mother-in-law overheard it. She has demanded that we use the name she wants, and that it's her way or no way. I told her that we as parents are going to choose the name that our child gets, and she has no part of it. Well, as expected, she told my girlfriend that either she uses the name she picks, or she won't ever be in our child's life. And to that, we told her, that's probably for the better.
Yeah.
Oh, girl, if you're going to make that kind of ultimatum, you probably better have a better leg to stand on.
Bitch. Yeah.
And so she then started to cry, saying we can't ban her from seeing her first grandchild. And I told her that if she thinks I would ever allow her to be near our child, then she must be delusional. She had a meltdown and said, we can't do that to her. And
you're delulu.
Yeah. And to that, I told her that she made her bed and she can rot in it for all I care. And then we left.
I love it.
I told my parents about what happened, and they told me that they understand my frustration, but that I can't be that disrespectful to someone and tell them off like that. My girlfriend is on my side.
Hell yeah.
But my parents made me second guess my...
No.
So am I the asshole? No.
Listen.
Not only are you not the asshole, but stand your ground. This woman is toxic and has been obviously for a very long time. Why do people keep making room in their lives for toxic people? I don't care, and we've talked about this many times on here. I don't give a shit how they're related to you. If they are toxic and they are trying to manipulate you and they're whatever, it's like, no.
Toodaloo, motherfucker.
Toodaloo.
I am a huge advocate for using strong and shitty language to people in conflict. It is how I've always fought. It is how I'm good at fighting. And I like for people to be affected. Not like affected, but I want them to feel it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to say you made your bed, I don't care if you rot in it, that probably shook that bitch. You know what I mean?
Probably, because probably no one's ever talked to her that way.
And I love that. I love saying shitty things that, like, with old people who think swearing, is the worst thing you could do.
Right.
Using words like cunt around them, so they then, like, shit their heart out or whatever. Like, that is...
Wow. I don't think that's how biology works, but...
Listen, I don't know how old people work. So I just think that kind of... the shock value of it all.
Right.
Get your point across.
Yeah.
But
I think it also mostly just goes back to what we have said many, many times is you just don't have to have people in your life that are not good for your life.
Well, also, what do I always say? If someone wanted you to speak warmly about them, they should have behaved better.
Yeah. And I love that. That is such a good way to put that. But literally, if you're telling people you have to name your child this, you have to do things my way, what? Who are you? No, I'm pretty sure that's the parents' decision.
Yeah.
And ain't nobody going to tell me who my children will or won't be around.
Yeah.
It's also like the same thing, and I saw somebody did a little video about this the other day, and it's the telling children that they have to hug somebody. Because we have always been, if someone's like, oh, come give Auntie a hug, and my kids are like, no thanks. And it's like, okay, you don't have to. And so the video I saw yesterday was this woman going, oh, come give Auntie a hug. And the kid was like, no, thank you. And she was like, oh, you're hurting my feelings. Like, yeah, don't guilt trip a child.
Your fefeelings can be hurt.
Your feelings can be hurt. That's on you. She's for whatever reason not in the mood to hug you. She shouldn't have to. It's her body, and you can't start teaching that early enough.
Yeah.
That it's like, your choice.
It's
who
consent,
you touch,
girl. It's
who
consent.
touches you, how. Yeah, it's all consent. And once they learn that early on, it's so much easier
consent
to continue.
Nature. Yeah, for sure. Teach everyone consent. Teach them that they can say no, yes, or no over their bodies. I also, look, I never wanted children. What? What is so funny?
I'm sorry. I just got a text from my daughter.
Okay.
And can I try base jumping? It's like jumping off a cliff without a parachute. Well, no, it's not. Base jumping, you use a parachute. Mm-hmm. But I was like, why? Why?
Why is that?
Why are we asking me if you can base jump? First of all, what?
Can I try base jump?
Huh?
Yeah, what the fuck is wrong with you? Grace.
Jumping off a cliff without a parachute.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to just say no.
Probably not. Anyway, what I was saying about children, actually, is I don't like them. I never wanted them. I didn't have them. I dislike most children. But, I understand that they get to have feelings, which is tiresome to me. But I don't think that, when kids are having a meltdown or they have feelings, that we should get mad at them for having feelings.
No.
People don't get mad at me when I'm having a shit day, or I don't want to do something, or I have anxiety about something, because I'm an adult. And I do what I want to do. You know what I mean? So expecting children to always be a certain way is cuckoo bananas.
But I'm going to say this about that.
No.
You've been doing what you would want to do since you were little.
Well.
You've been like, nope, I'm not going to do that since you were little. And I know we've talked about this many times. But you were always the kid who's like, no, I'm not going to do that. You have to do that. No, I don't. You have to do that or you're going to be grounded. So ground me. What are you going to take away from me?
I know.
Ground me. I'm not doing that thing. I'm not comfortable with that thing. So basically, piss off.
Yeah, that's very true.
But you did it with just the sweetest face. That it was hard to be mad.
I was practically perfect.
I know.
In every way.
Well, you also were just this cherubic young child who was like, you looked at that face and you're like, how could I possibly?
What do you want?
It's funny because I say that all the time about our dog, Lofat. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's hard to be mad at him because he's the sweetest dog and he has the sweetest face, but he just destroyed $100 pair of boots or whatever. And it's like, I was mad for 30 seconds, but that face that was you as a baby.
Oh my God.
I mean, all the way up probably until you started developing more into a teenager or whatever. You just had this face that you're like,
I know.
How can you be mad at that face?
I know.
Such a sweet baby.
People were. It's
dumb
weird.
People.
Dumb people.
Horrible people. Because really, you were a sweet angel baby.
Oh my God, thank you.
Now you're a devil.
Now you're awful. Now you're fallen.
Satan's mistress, but whatever.
You're falling straight out of heaven.
Or maybe you're just Satan. I'm not sure.
Oh, I know. That's true.
Satan.
Who knows?
I don't know if Satan's a girl.
Look, if I am the Antichrist or whatever Satan, I'm a very boring one because I'm like, I have to go and do it.
Wait, I have to go make people do bad things? Can I just... That sounds exhausting.
Can I stay here in the comfort of my own home? And just be evil from here?
Here's my thought.
Yeah.
If you actually were like Satan, then you could stay in your... Because you could delegate.
Oh,
right?
honey.
You would have your minions.
Go, set a plague of locusts
and
upon
really,
whoever.
Doesn't it sound delightful to have minions?
Every day. I had a dream. I don't dream very often, but I had a dream not that long ago that I was married into some royal family in Scandinavia, and I said, "This feels right." This, right. This.
So I'm the queen.
Yeah,
that seems right. Can I have people beheaded? No, you may not.
No, I know. Does not in my dream too, I was an American, fucking married into some Scandinavian royal family, and I acted like I had all the power.
That also sounds right.
Yeah. Yeah, you give me a little bit of power, I'm like, so I rule the country.
So what I hear you saying is I can have anybody I want killed.
Or
deported.
My annual income is unlimited, and everyone I hate dies.
That all sounds right.
Yeah.
That all sounds right.
For real.
I mean, where do we sign up for that?
I know.
Oh my God. One more thing, and then we really do have to go.
Okay, bye.
I was reading, so I know I've said this before, but Parker and I, every morning at school, while we're waiting for him to go into school, we read at least one, Am I the Asshole?
Yeah.
And I read one this morning and I was so confused.
Yeah.
Because, and I'm just going to give you the highlights of it, because it said, Am I the asshole for, basically it was for having our child taken away from us because I wasn't paying attention. It was like, I was downstairs doing whatever, and then my child started crying, and on the way upstairs, I went past the stereo, and I remembered how much I loved to dance. And so I turned on the stereo and started dancing and shimmying and shaking.
Wait, the stereo wasn't even on yet?
And then hours later, when my girlfriend got home, she was crying because she said, because of you, Child Protective Services took our child away. And I was like, wait, what? And I saw it was from Sims.
Oh my God, okay.
And I was like, can Sim people now write Am I the Asshole?
I guess.
It was obviously a character, but I didn't catch that until the end. I'm like, wait, you did what? Your child's crying and you're like, oh, I like to dance.
I forgot. Let's put some jams on.
Talk about short attention span. Ooh, something shiny.
I know. And the baby's still crying.
The baby's still crying, but you're low. Doing the hustle downstairs.
Yeah, do the hustle. Exactly.
Although I'm not sure what decade this happened if they're doing the hustle. But that's not the point.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But what does matter is that we have gone past the end of our time.
Oh, God.
And that we are here every week. Our podcast comes out every Wednesday. And every Wednesday you are searching to hear whatever ramblings are going on in our head because that's how this works.
Yep.
Because it's, a podcast about, again, anything, everything, and nothing. And tangents are topics.
Very much so. That's all.
If you haven't done this so far, I know that didn't even come out right.
Stroke, having a big stroke.
Thus far, you have not downloaded a podcasting app. Do that. Like, share, subscribe. You can also, on some podcasting apps, you can give us reviews and ratings.
Oh my God!
I have yet to find that because I hear it all the time. Leave us a rating, and I look for it. I can't find it, but maybe I'm just not savvy enough to. Probably, and so do that. And if you want to send us messages like the lovely Lori Lee. Yeah. Although she sent that through my Facebook because she was trying to, I think, get me to watch this reel because it must have been a Facebook reel. Anyway, it would seem as though at gmail.com.
Jamal
at jamal.com. And we will read and respond and
we'll be here.
Possibly make fun of
talk shit.
Yeah, talk shit.
That's
what we do.
Next week is our last week in Portland, and then we have a show in the Los Angeles in the Disneyland. But we're still figuring out logistics.
Yeah, well, we'll see how that all happens. We'll probably be telling you about what kind of crazy shit's going on, but who knows?
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see.
I guess you'll find out next Wednesday, won't ya?
All right, we gotta go.
We do have to go. I have things to do.
Me too, girl. I'm nappy. I need to take a nap. I need to take a nap is what I meant.
I know.
Bye.
Bye.
It would seem as though